In just the last 6 years, 346 people have lost their lives in plane crashes involving Boeing 737 MAX jets. 346. Also in that time frame, countless issues involving these jets, including a massive hole on the side of a plane in mid-flight. Whistleblower after whistleblower has come forward to accuse the company of cutting corners. And tonight, that company's CEO says that they are, quote, far from perfect. David Calhoun, he struggled to answer questions during a Senate hearing, and he started off by apologizing to families of victims who were seated behind him in the room. They were holding up signs and pictures of their loved ones in those crashes. Nadia Milleron was on that in that hearing today, and she joins me now. Her daughter, Samia Stumo, was killed in the 737 MAX crash in 2019. Nadia is also running for Congress in Massachusetts. Thank you very much for joining us, Nadia.
Thank you for having me, Abby.
And Nadia, I want to first say I'm so sorry for the loss of your daughter, and I know that that loss is still fresh in your mind. You were there. You heard firsthand what Calhoun had to say. What did you think of that apology?
It wasn't a real apology. So what he was doing is he doesn't want us to know the details of it, how it happened. So every time your loved one dies, especially in a crime, you deserve to know and you need to know, how did it happen? So it happened through production defects, not just through faulty design. So the AOA sensor on the outside of the plane had a faulty electrical component, which caused the AOA sensor not to feed the right information into MCAS, which caused the plane to dive into the ground. So he doesn't want people to know that. He doesn't want people to know that they cut corners on production. They cut out inspectors. And as a result, there are all these problems in these planes. So the planes that were produced then, the planes that are being produced now, they all have production defects, and these are showing up in real problems that pilots are facing. And two of those problems caused these huge crashes, and another of those problems caused the Alaska Air blowout. So he's covering up by saying, yes, we're very sorry, and he doesn't want to say what they're sorry for and who was responsible and who made the decisions. But only through that can we actually correct the problems.
You called it a crime. Do you think that he and others at Boeing should be criminally prosecuted?
Absolutely. He lies constantly. He was lying in the hearing today. So he said that he didn't know what happened to the supervisors who were harassing whistleblowers. So, for example, John Barnett's family was all there. John Barnett supposedly committed suicide, but I definitely have a question about that. He supposedly committed suicide after 7 years of harassment by Boeing and the supervisors around his whistleblowing. It was a constant, horrible situation for that person trying to call attention to production problems and defects. And that those supervisors are all fine. They all stayed in Boeing. Some of them were promoted. So, I mean, it's amazing that this guy could say he doesn't know what happened to the supervisors, and he doesn't, and some of them might have been, corrected. Well, not enough of them, because if enough of them were corrected, we wouldn't keep having these problems.
You know, what's also really astounding, $32 million, that's how much Calhoun makes in a salary. And what makes that, I think, even more eye-popping is that it's a 45% increase in the last year. He was questioned about that on Capitol Hill by Senator Hawley. Is there any justification for that, given everything that Boeing has been in the headlines for, a 45% salary increase?
No, and look at how he answered. That Senator Hawley said, how much money do you make? So what is the natural thing for a normal person to do? I make $30 million. I make $32 million. But he didn't say that. He said, well, it's public. It's a lot of money. He couldn't answer the question. And this just goes to his character. He kept saying, MCAS is the problem, MCAS is the problem. He couldn't admit that we had production defects that caused the problems with our planes and caused these crashes. He couldn't admit that the supervisors get promoted when they harass the poor people that are trying to make the planes safe, the poor people that are trying to report on problems. So all of the metrics they have in place, they had in place before the crash. The problem is that when they have a rush on production, they have to hurry up and produce the planes. They say to their people, ignore the metrics, ignore the safety metrics, ignore the things we have in place to make sure things go well. No, ignore it all, throw it out the window because we have to hurry and produce these planes. So, and he knows all that. And he's so disingenuous. Like he looked at me in the eye and he said, I am sorry. And I said, you are sorry? Are you sorry for the bombs Boeing produced that kill innocent kids in Rafah? Are you sorry for that too? Like, how can he sleep? This person is a psychopath. We cannot have people running these companies that do not care about human life. We have to have responsible people running these companies.
Nadia Milleron, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And once again, I'm incredibly sorry for your loss and for what you and all these families have endured. Thank you.
Thank you very much.